just hardware is hard. Um, you know, yeah, it's a tough business. Um, so that was one of our first pivots, was going from the battery testing hardware, um, but we still got a little bit of funding to go look at battery testing software instead. So um, it's another, there's a lot of these, to your multiverse thing. One of our fortuitous moments was getting a $100,000 grant from Amazon. It was called the Catalyst program. I don't think it exists anymore, so I wouldn't even be able to use it nowadays. But there's a period of time where they're giving away these grants to work on interesting ideas. So that would have been 2016 going into 2017. We got that first 100K from Amazon to go build out prototypes of, we pivoted away from the hardware and just focused on, okay, well, we can still do interesting things on the software side. So battery software for my fellow R&D engineers.
So you started the company, I think, in 2015, you said?
We officially incorporated in 2018.
2018.
We've been working in different iterations of it along the way since roughly 2016, I'd say.
So one thing I really hate about startup communities, right, is this thing like, you have to figure everything out like in 90 days, right? In 90 days, do blah, blah, blah. If you don't have like $1 million company in 90 days, stop, right? But I actually like your approach better, right? And I think more people do your approach, right? But how have you been able to like discuss with people when they say, hey, like, man, dude, what the fuck you doing, right? Why would I give you money to do anything with you? You're just wasting all this time, right? What's your counter argument to that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like, okay, what resources do we have? And then what problems can we solve with these resources? So my original ideas have not quite panned out the way I was hoping. So, all right, well, we still have, in the process of coming up with a bad idea, you get better ideas along the way. So we're using feedback from other humans, feedback from the market to say, all right, let's start rowing the boat. We're going this direction, but actually we need to go 15 degrees this way, and then this will be more lucrative for everybody involved. So I'm very open to feedback. If somebody tells me we're doing something dumb, and that was, to your point, that was where people were never really overtly negative.
Yeah, no one's gonna say your baby sucks, so to speak, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's great, Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to buy it? It's like, oh,
it's not that great.
Not this quarter, not this time, or it's not that great. So, it took me a while to figure out, okay, that's useful feedback. We're not really making as much progress as I think we are, so we got to go and.
And then how do you decipher all the feedback and advice you get from different people? I'm not saying any of it's like bad or bad intentions, but it's like what worked for Tom Brown back in 1995 might not work in 2025, right?
Yeah.
How do you take their advice and don't be like, hey, dude, I'm gonna listen to your bullshit, right?
Yeah. I guess you kind of have to filter it through. First of all, okay, does this person have the results I want? And if I don't need to take a homeless person's advice on how to build my startup, I'm going to kind of filter that out. Versus if it's a guy who's done something useful and then the next filter there would be, okay, is this the right advice for the stage of company we're at? So if we're still not to the point where we need to rapidly scale or anything like that, I think a lot of people get themselves hurt scaling before they're ready. So for better or worse, we're not to the point where we need to rapidly scale things up yet. But making sure you're taking advice at the appropriate stage for what you need to be doing. And then is there other things I factor in there? Those are two things that come to mind off the top of my head.
Okay.
Probably a couple other dimensions to it depending on the advice.
And how you deal with this, right? Like suppose you're talking to someone at your company, right? And you explain everything in detail to them, and they say, what I understand you're doing, and they say something like totally left off the field, like nowhere even close to you just said, right? Are you like, I need to work on my storytelling better, or this dude is a fucking idiot if he can't get what I just said?
Yeah. So one, I probably do need to work on my storytelling better. On the other hand, it'll depend on if I'm talking to my ideal customer and they don't get it, then that's a big red flag. If I'm talking to like a realtor, they don't necessarily know. They don't need to know about battery engineering per se. So there's a different level of detail we can go into. Like, okay, we make the batteries last longer and we make them not blow up. That's a good synopsis of what we've been doing. And this is a thing I've been messing up historically was yeah, we're a battery analytics company. We do battery analytics, but nobody necessarily knows what battery analytics means. So we've been in the past handful of months working on getting a crisper focus in on the things that our customers actually care about. Like, our customers don't want battery analytics. They want the batteries to last longer. They want them to not catch on fire. They want them to work when in these mission critical scenarios where they're supposed to be working.
So are you like a hardware company, tech company, climate company? What kind of company are you?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're a software company, I would say. On a long enough time scale, we'll probably do a lot of different things. So we've got our analytics in the cloud now. We've got some irons in the fire looking at embedded, so taking the analytics and putting some of them, onto embedded hardware, and that'll be a separate thing. So that's a little bit outside my personal wheelhouse, but we can go and, depending on the application, I think it'll be critical for DoD things as well. Sometimes it's better in the cloud, sometimes it's better embedded, where you don't have any latency or security type issues. Yeah, I guess we're kind of all of the above. We're kind of climate tech. It's another one that's been a little bit of a difficult story to tell. Where we're not directly sucking CO2 out of the air or anything like that. We're helping people make better batteries, where we can kind of retroactively figure out a number for, okay, here's all the batteries that we've extended their life, and that is X amount of lithium we didn't have to dig out of the ground to make the new batteries that this battery replaced. And it's a bit of a convoluted story that we've not quite dialed in there, but yeah, there's certainly a climate aspect to it as well.
Do you think you'll ever actually make batteries?
It's not my goal. Maybe it's not my goal. I'm open to it if there's all these different things that I have not planned for, that maybe making batteries ends up being part of the process if need be. Yeah, certainly there's different values for being closer to the actual hardware itself. So yeah, we'll see what's in store for us. It's not my plan, but we'll see how things shape out.
So you're doing a demo at my event, Kevin Say Car Sales Got Tech. Can you kind of walk us through what we plan on doing for the demo?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple different things that we'll be showing, but the main idea being, okay, we get data from somewhere. I don't really care where the data comes from. All these different pieces of infrastructure have different communication protocols and ways that they're recording data and all that. So as a battery guy, I think of myself as a battery guy. I don't really care where the data is coming from. Just give me the data, and it all kind of boils down to time, voltage, temperature, current. Other things you can everything could basically be derived from your time series data around voltage, temperature, current, and a couple other key features there. So the algorithms kind of work behind the scenes. The dashboard that we'll be showing the visitors will be, okay, here's a hypothetical fleet of batteries. X of them are doing pretty good. Y of them have some weird issue that we'd want to flag for either preventative maintenance or remove it from service immediately. Or this battery is going to catch on fire, get it very far away from it as fast as you can. Different things like that.
Isn't it some kind of interactive demo where people can take part in it too?
Yes, it will be. Yes, I'd say you can click through and, okay, here's where we get the data. Here's the data getting crunched in the background. Here is the final results of, imagine yourself as a fleet operator. Here's the state of health for all your batteries.
So the event is part of Seattle Tech Week. So talk more about the actual tech of it. Like, how does the tech work behind it?
Yeah, so like I said, we just need the data in some format. So vehicles have CAN bus data, drones have different ways of communicating, telematics have different ways of communicating. It doesn't matter to me. It's all, like I said, it all boils down to time, voltage, current, temperature. Our key IP is basically around different algorithms for estimating state of health, state of charge, state of power. We've got a patent pending method for identifying a weak cell in an overall battery system. So the idea there is whichever batteries are the weakest, that is the one. If you got say a giant refrigerator shipping container full of batteries, the ones that are the weakest are going to be detrimentally pulling down performance and safety for your system overall. So if you can monitor say you've got like a shipping container for stationary storage, you've got thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of cells in there. Down selecting from all 100,000 down to the 100, for example, of the ones that are going to be the biggest problem children for you, will help the asset manager, not get in the news for your battery system catching on fire and you have to evacuate the town next door and all these other bad things that sometimes happen if things go sideways.
And then so like how like for cars like Ford and GM makes most of the cars, do like the same few companies make all the batteries?
Yes, so there's different suppliers. I guess off the top of my head, a lot of the manufacturing is in China. So CATL is the biggest one. There's a limited amount in Japan and Korea. So Sony, Panasonic, those kind of folks. There are different amounts of efforts of folks trying to stand up manufacturing here in the U.S. So, but yeah, it is dominated pretty top heavy by the top 3, 4, 5 companies.
So from the tech event that you're gonna demo at, what are you trying to do? Is there a certain amount of connections you're trying to get, a certain amount of feedback? What's your goal? What do you want to get out of it?
Yeah, this is just one of those things where there's a pretty robust ecosystem with respect to battery stuff and electrification and going green and all that in the Seattle area. So just want to get the word out about Astrolabe, and to the extent we can, start building some of these connections. We've got a long sales cycle, so if I can shake hands with people today, maybe a year and a half down the road, then there's something for us to do for these different fleets or these different transit authorities or all these different organizations.
And the people that are going to be at your table, what's the number one thing you want to get out of it?
The number one thing, just get the word out. It's the way I think about it is I plant a bunch of seeds. I don't know which ones are going to germinate, but just get more publicity for Astrolabe and position ourselves for success moving forward.
And then how about the person like walking by the table? What's the number one thing you want them to get out of it?
For them, I'll give them the rundown on battery safety and performance. So happy to answer their questions if if our ideal customer comes on by, then we'll give them the rundown there. If it's a person who is thinking about buying an electric vehicle or something like that, we can answer some of their questions. Home storage or do-it-yourself. There's all kinds of different folks doing different levels of safety when it comes to some of these things. But lots of do-it-yourself interest in battery home storage systems.